Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Real Estate Investment Workshop. My name is Daniel Tete, and I'm pleased to welcome you all to this amazing session. As you know, this Real Estate Investment Workshop is organized by the Global Startup Ecosystem in collaboration with Intim Group and the Ghana Tech Summit. And this is an opportunity to learn about everything related to the real estate. So we bring board speakers from various sectors within various fields within the real estate sector to give us some information that we need to know for those that are interested in delving into the real estate market or interested in opportunities within the real estate sector. So it's my pleasure to welcome you to this session once again. And for today's speakers, we have an amazing lineup of speakers that will be introduced shortly. But this is held under the special of Christine team, who is the head of the Global Startup Ecosystem, and we'll be introducing the speakers when it's time for us to go live. This program, Intim Group Club program, and provides this series of workshop programming to educate stakeholders within the real estate industry, from buyers to sellers to agents to service providers and to also enthusiasts to these webinars, workshops, tours, and virtual summits, retreats, as well as other programming as well. And we are thankful to all our speakers that have come on this program over the past couple of years to grace this occasion and share their thought leadership with us. We're thankful to all of them, and also thankful to the speakers that made it to the real estate investment summits as well, and then the workshop series for 2024 2023. And then for this year as well, we are still adding up to the speakers that are coming, our speakers for gracing our stages. And throughout this, we've looked at various real estate ecosystem players within the sector when it comes to for the brokers, for the developers, for the agents, those that organize the events as well, to government agencies as well. We look to hear from all these as well on the various platforms that we do have. So it's my pleasure to welcome you once again to the Real Estate Investment Workshop, and then we'll be kickstarting the panel discussion today. We'll be handing over to Nyama Ralph to take over for the next session of the program. Welcome once again to this Real Estate Investment Workshop for the month of August.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, and thank you once again for joining today's session of the real estate. Real estate. Please hold on there a second. Wow. Yes. And today is going to be. I'm happy to be here once again to moderate today's session. And at this moment, I'd just like to welcome our speakers on to join us. That would be um, Mr. Steven, and then Dr. Richard Safo.
Hi, Nick. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Mr. Steven. Good morning, Mr. Richard.
Good morning.
I believe you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you, Nick. Can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you as well. Thank you very much for
Awesome. Good
joining
morning,
us.
everyone.
Good
Yes.
morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning. And thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us for today's session. And I'm glad to moderate today's session. And I'll not talk much, but rather give you the opportunity to briefly introduce yourself and for us to get to know you. Then we kick start from there.
Doc, you
Any of you
go.
can, any of you can kick start.
Okay,
Yeah.
so my name is Dr. Richard Osafo. I am the CEO of 40 DAX. 40 DAX is into a variety of activities. We are into real estate, we are into brokerage services. But at the same time, I'm also the co-executive partner for Plexus Consortium. That is a global consulting firm that helps with project financing, project funding, and many others. So we've spearheaded a lot of government projects and other private projects as well. I started my career in from Dubai in the real estate industry, where for almost 12 to 13 years now, amassed a lot of knowledge from different angles or from different areas, okay, or different continents. I must say that the journey has been great, but hopefully as the day goes by, we learn. I have my master's in business administration, and I also hold a PhD in leadership and strategic management. I am a Ghanaian, as we all know, and currently this is what I can say for now about myself.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you very much, Doc. We appreciate that. We'll dive in more to get to know you as well. So by now we move to Mr. Steven.
Okay. You can call me Nase. Yeah, that's fine. Just feel free.
Nase,
Let's have
okay, all
like
right,
Nase.
sure.
Nase. That's how
Okay,
most people call me. All
Nase,
right. So my name is
very well.
yes. My name is Stephen Nase Bwedi. My background is mainly in marketing and communication, with emphasis on digital technology. Okay. I've worked in many sectors. At the moment, I run a consultancy called Enable Good Consult. Essentially, we are good consultants. So, whatever your sector, we help you to be able to embrace the right strategy in terms of marketing and communication, and even digital technology, digital adoption, to be able to grow. Over the past couple of years, I'd say 5, 6 years, I've been an advocate for prop tech in particular, which is something that we're going to talk about today. And of course, also being part of a network of organizations that focus on property development and also real estate marketing. So, yes, that's me.
Thank you very much, Nase. Um, okay, so me, I'm really excited to be part of this and to have you here, Doc, talking about finance, and then NASA also speaking about the prop tech, that's technology and real estate. And I look forward to learn more. So now um, to kickstart, I just want to know from your opinion what makes Ghana's real estate market unique compared to other markets in Africa or globally, especially with Dr. Doc. You mentioned you've been in the diaspora, Dubai. So what you being in Ghana now or being a Ghanaian, what do you think about the Ghana's real estate? What makes it unique that you think others should also come in here to join or invest in the real estate in Ghana?
Okay. All right. So this is a very great question, and thank you for the question. Africa's real estate industry, or I must say that Ghana's real estate industry is really growing by the day. As I speak with you, according to Statista and Knight Frank, Accra's real estate market is the third fastest growing real estate market in the whole Africa. Okay, estimating a little over 533.34 billion US dollars by the end of 2025. This is huge. okay, for an industry that has been growing steadily over the years. And so, if you ask me, it means Ghana is doing something right. We are changing from old concepts into newer concepts. And so, ideally, um, these are helping us, okay, gain global trends and global stance within the real estate industry. Now, the first thing I must say is that automation and efficiency for mortgages are helping, okay, in the country. The reasons are that government is now implementing new, you know, low interest-free financial models that will help the ordinary Ghanaian attain or achieve um, the goal of buying a property. Now, when it has to do with automations, these days it is very easy for someone out of the country to have access to any kind of property through VR tools and so on and so forth. It is making the industry much robust. It is making the industry much resilient so that you wouldn't have to be in Ghana physically in order to be able to buy a property in Ghana. Again, there are other things we are also learning from GCC or Dubai that I believe that gradually Ghana is also learning from our real estate platforms. Real estate platforms are growing by the day. Day in, day out, people have the opportunity to, you know, go online, make their own research, buy properties, make inquiries. Agencies are now beginning to get professional. So if you look at the entire value chain within the real estate sector, from regulatory through to developers and then agencies, and most important, the end user, and also individual private developers. Okay, you realize that the gap is breaching by the day, and Ghana's real estate market is moving and setting the pace forward. Again, Ghana, I can see, is expanding access to investors, and we are doing this through crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is one major means that some companies, some local companies are helping. Okay, that is bringing investors all over the world through government initiatives like Beyond the Aid and so on and so forth. Investors are now looking at Ghana, and all thanks to technology. Okay, investors can now see Ghana as a global market that we can actually come in to invest. During the Beyond Aid campaign, we also saw a lot of investors trooping in into Ghana from actors, actresses, coming on tourism and through tourism, making some level of tangible investments in Ghana. And so that access to investors is expanding. That today in Ghana's real estate market, you just don't have locals investing, but you have multinational companies investing in the Ghana real estate sector. And some are doing this through crowdfunding. Two, three, four, five investors, 10 investors, 20 investors come together and then to put up a high-rise residential property to make some form of return out of. This is really helping the country. Gradually, locals are also getting themselves involved with crowdfunding concepts. And I must commend, some companies who are actually putting this into test. There's a company called, I stand to be corrected though, but I think the name is Rent Chamber that has come up with a very solid crowdfunding concept that is helping even local and foreign investors to own properties without necessarily having to be in the country. Meanwhile, they share dividend, they share profit during this process or during this investment. And so Ghana's investment or investor expansion is also growing. Again, I can see that there's increased transparency and security. Increased transparency and security for both foreigners and also for locals. Before, um, people could not be assured of, securing a home in Ghana and how safer that could be. But gradually, I believe Ghana has become one of the world's most peaceful countries. And that is putting Ghana, or that has put Ghana on the map. This is also helping us increase our security in terms of ownership and security in terms of our social life. Transparency, I can also say that government is putting up policies that is bringing forth, transparent transactions and transparent operations by the day. I can talk of some government initiatives that is bringing ownership to the fore. For instance, we have the National Home Ownership Fund that is building and developing, real estate projects, that is making it more transparent for people to access government, property or government-led initiatives. Earlier on, it was just meant for what do you call it? For the private sector, but now gradually, sorry, the public sector, but now gradually there's transparency. People within the private sector or individuals who yearn to also own properties are gradually moving um, into owning into having that transparency within the country. But there is one main thing that I believe over the years, if government is able to, or our major stakeholders are able to put in place, it will really push the Ghanaian real estate market very, very, very far, and would make it more investor attractive for investors. And that thing is incorporating technology, which is blockchain systems and smart contracts. If government is able to bring this, out, if we are able to have an overall overview of a centralized government platform that will monitor, regulate, and manage the real estate industry, I know that will really help. Blockchain is a game changer these days. If you go to Dubai, for instance, there are various government initiatives that the UAE government, through Dubai Lands Department and the RERA, which is Real Estate Regulatory Authority in Dubai, that has introduced in the real estate market, that people now feel comfortable buying into real estate. People now feel comfortable investing their hard-earned money into real estate. So I wouldn't take too much on this, because I believe there's more to discuss and there's more to talk about. So for now, I think Ghana is doing well, and Ghana is attracting the right investors. Ghana is moving, the right way. But I believe a lot more can be done. Thank you, Nick.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Ghana is
Awesome.
doing well, and Ghana is indeed attracting more investors. Thank you very much, and we appreciate that. That's a
Can I
please. What?
just jump in on that? Yeah.
Yes, you can. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I really agree with a lot of what Doc has said, and Doc is the expert in the industry. Now, I'll just add two things that I've seen as someone who is like an affiliate, if I can call it that. So I'm not a key player, but I'm an affiliate. One of the things that's obvious is the changing landscape. Now, I grew up in an era where the whole idea was to build bungalows with houses on big lands, surrounded by a lot of greens and all of that. It's got its positives and negatives. But as you drive across the country today, you see the development of a lot of townhouses and apartments and things like that. These therefore mean that the property developers can pack a lot more into the land that they are developing. They can also be a lot more innovative. So you see a lot of that innovation. That also means that even the cost of property is reduced. Well, the reality is, it used to be a myth. Everybody thought, no, I need to have a big land and put my small three-bedroom on it so my children can have somewhere to play and all those things. And we're wasting a lot of land. This whole concept of infilling, for example, has become very, very relevant. And you drive across the country, you see more new developments, whether it's high-rise apartments or townhouses, all those. So it means there's a changing landscape, which is very, very important. The bit that Doc talked about, the embracing technology part, is very, very significant, because the developers and the real estate agencies are becoming more creative and more innovative now. Okay. By doing that, also, if you look at one thing that he mentioned, for example, the integration of even virtual reality into property viewing, for example, it allows foreign investors, for example, to be able to even monitor what's going on their investments here, even in real time. And so it means they are more comfortable to invest their money in it. We've got a bit of way to go, but these are at least two areas that I want to highlight and add that we've seen a lot of growth. Of course, we can also add the fact that with the economic growth, whether you agree with it or not, there's an element of economic growth.
Right.
And banks are now being more smart with even developing financial models for financing some of these developments, whether it's with the developers themselves or even with people who want to buy properties like individuals. So we're growing. We're not quite where Doc is yet, as in Dubai and other places, but we'll get there. I think the beautiful thing about being a global village is the fact that we can learn even virtually from what's happening at all sorts of places, and we're all, I mean, it's all for the good. Yeah.
Sure, we will get there. Thank you very much, Nase. I don't know if you have. It was the same question I was going to ask you first
Okay.
about your opinion relating to Ghana real estate as compared to the world. I don't know if you have any additional point to it, or
No,
you want.
I think what I've said should suffice. I mean, that alone could be a whole show that we based on. I mean, you can even talk about, since we're going to talk about prop tech, for example, even the kind of fittings that people are putting in some of the real estate today. I mean, if you're people are going to invest in properties, for example, they need security. You go around, you look at some of the estate developments, you look at the level of security installations that they are putting there to guarantee the security of homeowners and tenants there. You look at the planning as well, where now it's more of a holistic, city in a city. So you go to a lot of the developments, they've got libraries, they've got schools, they've got shopping centers, all planned within that, so that people can live that in, like they're living in a town on their own. But some of the reality is that some of these developments are outside, let's say, main Accra city and main Kumasi city. And so you want to make sure that people have all the resources, facilities they need in some of these places, so that they don't have to travel to the city, let's say, to go to market and all those things. And these are being built into, even supermarkets are being built into the design of some of these developments. So that's all great.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nase. Um, with that said, in Doc's submission, he did mention incorporating technology in today's real estate. You being someone in the tech industry talking about technology and real estate, I just want to find out from you, how can technology help an individual who is starting out their journey in the real estate industry find their first good investment opportunity?
Okay. Thank you very much. There's so many ways. I mean, again, that can be a whole show on its own. Now,
Exactly.
one of the things that you would know, and Doc would, I mean, confirm this, is to really start investing in real estate, you need to do a lot of research to start with. And research in particular is easier these days because of the availability of digital tools, whether it's websites, AI tools, all this. So you can do a lot of research online. The research could involve using platforms like the platform that I contribute to, and I'm going to, there's one called Home Alliance, Homeowners Alliance. It's a UK-based platform. People can check that out. Homeowners Alliance. It's a community of people who are not just homeowners, but also investors in real estate who share knowledge. So you can find out, for example, about even the community and the kind of like issues to do with even investing in that community, for example. Because we know in Ghana sometimes the success of an investment depends on even kind of like some of the local context and things like that. You can do that. Number two, there are things like also online platforms where you can go to even do your financial modeling and things like that. Banks elsewhere who are investing heavily in mortgage financing and real estate financing are providing some of these tools for people to be able to do those things. Number three, if you're going to do these also, to reduce cost, for example, you will find that a lot of developers now are depending less on, let's say, architects, for example, because some of the designs and the modeling can be done. I'm not saying the architects and designers are not relevant anymore, but what I mean is the number of man hours that they put in, because some of these architects and designers are also using, for example, AI tools that help them to be able to generate some like the models and some of like the 3D video rendering and all those things quicker. I'll tell this story. When I used to be in university in Ghana, one of the things nobody wanted was sharing a room with an architect person. We used to call them architect people. They come with a big drawing board and it takes half of the room. Doc is laughing because he recognizes it. Today, nobody uses
I do. I do.
Nobody uses those things anymore. That's one real visible way that technology has transformed this. Okay, you can use technology even sometimes to even test the soil, and also because these days, I mean, if you're going to develop properties, test even the soil to see how prone it is, for example, to even floods and things like that. So there's so much in there. I can even go on to talk about even if you're not going to be a developer yourself, but just want to be somebody who buys and sells, even searching for properties that you want to properly invest in. So you buy the property, maybe do a bit of refurbishing and sell it, for example. Property search platforms are very, very key in this. Okay, there's also something that Doc talked about, blockchain. I can just talk about it in just one small element. In Ghana, one of the biggest challenges is the challenge with lands commission. Being able to track title when it comes to land ownership. Okay, this can be solved overnight with the leveraging of blockchain technology. You'll be able to see the history the same way that in UK and other places, you buy a car and you see the car's history from day one to the day that you are picking up the car. It should be possible. And it's all about leveraging technology. That means that investors in real estate are not going to pay double for the same land, the same property that they are buying, all those things. So these are all ways that we can do. Like I talked about financial modeling, for example. It's not 1+1. If you're going to invest in real estate, Doc is a finance, but he will tell you this. Financial modeling is big. And it's not something you sit on a spreadsheet and do. There are tools that you need to do with apps and all those things. These are all developed to be able to help you. So you as an individual running a small team, if you want to get into real estate, these are tools you can just sit on your laptop and start getting somewhere. They will not replace what a big organization with all the people can do, but at least as a startup, it means that your exposure and the cost of you taking off is minimized. I mean, these are some of the things that I can talk about.
Thank you very much, Doug. I was just putting down some of the points you were mentioning, and
yeah.
One thing that the last sentence or words that you said was the tools are sitting on our laptop that we can start with. So wherever you are as an individual who is looking out to start in the real estate, just as Nasser mentioned, the tools are sitting on your laptop. You already have a laptop, which can be your phone or a PC itself. It's already on it for you to kickstart. So don't give yourself an excuse. You already have what it takes. Okay. Yeah. Right. Thank you very much for that. Doc, I'll come to you. I just talk of finance. Nasa has mentioned or have made it known to us that we have our tools on our laptops and gadgets, digital gadgets that we are having. Talk of finance. I want to find out from you, someone here dreaming of owning his or her home or starting out their first investment. What are the financial models they should watch out for in today's real estate? What are the opportunities for them, like in terms of finance?
Okay. So, Ralph, before, handling or tackling that question, it is a very, very good question, by the way. I would want to just touch on few things Nasir touched on.
Sure.
He made very, very crucial points regarding, going into investment in the first place. Okay, in today's market, you just don't get up, say that you want to go into real estate. Listen, education is one of the key and one of the main tools that will help you is technology. You can't do away with it. Now, educating yourself in what form? If you ask most real estate investors who started from scratch, they understand finance. They understand how money works, how money moves around, how to invest. And they did not attain this from day one. It is through consistent learning. You need to read books, real estate books. You need to understand what you are getting yourself into. By the way, there are four main class assets, okay, that a lot of people don't even know of. The first ones are businesses. Businesses are assets. A lot of people don't know that businesses could be assets. Now, through businesses, you can position your finances to fuel a real estate dream. Okay. The second class asset is real estate itself, where you invest, you make money, and do whatever you want to do based on your visions, your goals, your interests, and what you align more with. The third class assets are stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and so on and so forth. And you see, the good thing is that some of these things are technologically driven. And so if you understand and educate yourself financially through technology, that will help you attain some of these assets. And then the final ones are the Bitcoins, gold, silver, bronze, and so on and so forth. Okay, they all work together. So let's not think that, real estate stands on its own. Okay, they all work together. And so to be able to first understand what finance model you would need to ascertain your real estate dream or goal, you need to first educate yourself and find out which of these class assets would I want to venture in first to be able to move into the real estate dream. Do you want to immediately go into real estate, or do you want to branch from going into other areas before finally coming into real estate? Now, you need to have a clear vision, a clear-cut vision. A lot of people don't know this. They just think, once I have the land, I have money to develop. Why don't I do what best fits for me? That is the reason why we now have a lot of properties that might be empty in certain areas around the world. Okay, not just Ghana. Okay, there are a lot of properties that are empty in certain areas within the world because people do not build for the market. They build around the market. Okay, in Ghana, yes, in Ghana, our housing deficit alone today stands at 1.8 million. And we need a little over 70,000 to 200,000 homes every year to be able to meet up that housing deficit. The question is, how can we do that if people who are developing do not even understand the financial models they would need to develop, okay? Or do not even understand what they are doing. One man wants to do everything. He wants to be the salesperson, he wants to be the contractor, he wants to be the developer, he wants to be the marketer, but meanwhile, the industry is so huge that everyone has their own role to play. And these roles help us build or make the real estate market in Ghana robust. Okay, so education is very, very key before you even look at what financial models you would need. Once you are educated, you would now set your goals right. What do I seek to achieve? Who am I building for? What am I building? How would that help solve the need assessment within the market? Okay, once you are able to put these little things in place, then you can build, or you can look out for the financial models that will help you achieve those. A lot of people start and end up leaving the property without being able to continue because they did not have the right finance model to back them. So I'll quickly just jump onto the various finance models we have. First are traditional mortgages. These days, banks, financial institutions are offering mortgages. Usually, these type of mortgages allows you to put down a down payment, and then gradually you pay over a period of 15 to 25 years, depending on what what your finances are capable of handling. Again, the other ones available are government-backed schemes. Today in Ghana, we have the National Mortgage Scheme by government. People don't seem to understand why this scheme is very, very important. It is very, very important because government, through the National Ownership Fund, is helping individuals, both private and public sectors, okay, to get mortgage loans that have fewer interest or lesser interest. Okay, initially, traditional banks give higher mortgage interest rate, but currently, because of the introduction of the National Mortgage Scheme, government is now able to step in for the ordinary Ghanaian to now move and negotiate, okay, and buy properties. So if you are looking out, or if you are looking for a very good finance model that will help you, you can take advantage of, the National Mortgage Scheme introduced by government in order to, buy your property. The next ones are schemes that some of us, myself, helped engineer, like the rent to own and then the rent advance scheme. But I will touch on that later. I would want to look at it from the more broader holistic point of view before looking at it from an individual point of view. Now, the other form of financing that is currently available for the ordinary Ghanaian to avail are developer financing. There are developers who have in-house finance models that allows for longer, payment terms. For instance, if you go to Dubai, the UAE government has introduced, the Dubai government has introduced a scheme where first-time buyers are able to put down 1% down payment over a course or over a period of time. Okay, so developers are using some of these initiatives, like 1% down payment, 5% down payment, 10% down payment, and then the rest of the payment is spread even after completion. Okay, these are some of these. This finance model is good for those who may not be able to, take bulk monies to invest, outright. If you have money and you know that you can make gradual payment towards your property, you can use some of these developer financing models to help you, make progress payment towards your property. Others are also real estate investment groups. There are a lot of real estate investment groups available. Okay, just as I mentioned earlier, there is Africa Land Company currently in Ghana that is helping real estate investors through real estate investment groups. Okay, so there are some companies who have the funding capability to help those who are new, who can now absorb you, share that same vision with you, and then help you buy into a property that is already being handled by them. You don't necessarily have to be a full owner of a property in order to now realize that you own a property. These days, you can join real estate investment groups who develop or who build properties on a larger scale, okay, or on a more strategic, with a more strategic approach, where you can buy into some of the properties, make return on investment without necessarily having to own, all. Some of these investments are time sharing. If you if you go to Dubai, time sharing is very famous in Dubai. Okay, crowdfunding is also available where you can buy into, an investment or a project, own a portion of it, and share dividend okay, over a given period of time. Now, there are other specialized financing that are available for people who are self-funding individuals. Now, if you are self-funding individuals, meaning it means that you are purely dependent on your revenue to develop your own property. The good thing is that a lot of people in Ghana fall within this category. A lot of people would want to build their own property, would want to um, be the master behind their own, construction. It is not bad, okay? It is not bad. But in the event that there are other opportunities that you can avail, I would entreat people to look at self-financing coupled with, other financing models that would help. I know of developers who are using self-financing and other innovative means. I know of individuals who are also using some of these pseudo, meaning self-financing and other financing models to help them attain their real estate objectives. It is doable. It is doable. You just need to look out for some of these finance options, how they benefit you, how they meet your goals and objectives, and what they can actually at the end or in the end bring to you. Now, there are other Ghanaians who live outside the country but have access to diaspora mortgage. Okay, all these fall under special financial options. Okay, if you are out of the country and you want to buy a property in Ghana, these days, finance institutions or financial institutions like banks, government have made it more easier for you within the diaspora market to now have access to mortgage. Once you are able to, you submit, once you submit your credit score and it meets their needs or requirements, you would easily be able to have access to some of these, diaspora financing. So if you are in the US, if you are in the UK, if wherever you find yourself, if you are in Nigeria, Ghana, but a Ghanaian who would want to buy a property in Ghana, or even an investor who wants to buy a property in Ghana, you have the option to go in for the diaspora mortgage, okay, where you present your current job, your financial, outlines, and then also your credit score systems that will aid you, that will help you, buy a property while financing it gradually without necessarily having to be in Ghana. These are some of the finance models that are available. However, in other countries, there are pension-backed mortgages, which all falls under the mortgage option. In Ghana, I believe SNIT has that option available for investors or for individuals who would want to take advantage of their pension to invest into properties. This is how it works. You use your pension as a collateral to, securing some monies from SNIT or other financial institutions to invest into your property. This may not seem quite popular in Ghana, but there are a lot of government workers or in the private workers who are using some of these models that are available. I believe with time, as the conversation progresses, I would tackle, others that may fall within some of these categories. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Doc. I really appreciate that. That was a lot for us, and I have a lot of questions, but then I'll come back to you on that because Nasser will have to attend to an emergency, and we wouldn't want him to go without giving us some of the knowledge. So I'll go to Nasser. I'll come back to you, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, so Nasser, Thank you very much. I just want to
Sure.
find out. You mentioned you in your last submission. You mentioned that we have the tools seated on our laptop, and these tools are on every laptops that you've mentioned. So at this point, anybody out there, including myself, who is looking out to start out, is starting from square zero or stage one. But I want to find out with this, how do we then stand out as individual? How do we put ourselves out there? Because when we go, we are going as one because we all have the same every tool that you
Right.
mentioned is on our laptop. How do we stand out in terms of marketing and visibility?
I like that. And once again, sorry I have to jump off, but I mean, hopefully we can share a few more before I have to
Right.
jump off. Yeah.
Sure.
Clearly, I mean, running a successful real estate business is not just about having the right properties on your list. It's also about marketing and also delivering to customer needs. It's very, very important. And this is where brand building is also important. Doc will tell you, for most people, buying real estate is perhaps the biggest investment they will ever make, individuals. So it means there needs to be a lot of trust when it comes to buying from you. And this is where you need to build a brand that people want to associate with. Okay. Like if you've dealt with anybody, I mean, real estate agents are not people who are loved by most people. But when you do your job very well, people will love you. For
Exactly.
years, you see generations using the same real estate agent. You go to UK and Europe and other places, you see an Indian grandfather when he moved from Uganda to London, the same real estate agent that he used is the one that's looking for property and looks after the properties for his grandchildren because of the relationship they built and they built brands. So it's about how you deliver your service. This goes into brand building. It's not just about the logo and the pictures and all those gimmicks. Anybody can do those things. And like you said, these tools are available to everyone. When at the end of the day, it's relationship building and also how you deliver satisfaction. Now, Doc will tell you that when people are buying a property, it's for a specific need. For some people, they are buying it as buy to let. Some people they are buying it as a let's say a holiday home. Some people are buying it as a home where they is close to their workplace, so it's an apartment in the city. Then some people they are buying a retirement home. All these needs are unique. Now, a good individual who is in this business understands his customers' specific needs and he delivers to their specific needs. So again, this comes down to brand building before you even talk about the marketing. Because when it comes to the marketing, like the platforms are there today, if you can stick it to even just digital. All the listing platforms are there. People can go online. You can integrate all these virtual reality viewing tours, all those things. They are there. You can use them. We've moved on from back when I mean, again, I lived in Europe for a bit, so I know this. There used to be specific papers for real estate. Sometimes they are inserts into mainstream newspapers. So you pull it out, like let's say on Wednesdays, you pull it out, and from page 1 to page 50, it's all about listings available, properties that are available in the community, whether it's like Kingsbury Chronicle, whatever, all those newspapers. Today, everything lives online. Okay. So it's very, very easy for people to go online, do their research online, find out everything they want, even engage with you. People can start the conversation, agree on a property, do the viewing, everything, even before they make the call to you to say, this property you've got listed, we're interested in buying it. And the day they visit will be the day when they want to just close the deal and think about doing a physical viewing and then closing the deal. It's that easy. So the tools are there, like you said. But to be successful, one, you need to build a strong brand. And when it comes to real estate, I'll say building a strong brand depends a lot on relationship building and delivering to customer needs, customer satisfaction. Very, very key. That's when your name is mentioned, we say, this is the guy that got me this property. I'm happy with this property. That's what we want people to hear. Then when it comes to the marketing, there are tools out there, whether it's social media, for example, that you want to use to list your properties, and all those are there. But one thing that a lot of people neglect, and it's not very common in our part of the world, is that when it comes to marketing and in real estate in particular, if you're going to be successful, don't be the agent that just finds people with the property that they want, but be the agent that helps people to invest and get value from their property. Now I'll explain this. it's important, for example, to use things like even blogs to give people tips on, for example, managing their property, things to look out for to ensure how to even check a property out on a visit. What are the things you look out for? I've visited many properties in Ghana. You go and you see on the wall, there are these things that are, I don't know how you call them, prof, where they are like flakes, they are falling off. Sometimes it's because the soil is salty water.
Right.
And properties like that, the wall needs to be treated. These are tips you give people who are doing. So I call it giving value, so that you are positioning yourself to be not just the real estate agent who gets people, or property developer who gets people the property they want, but you are the one that gets the property that they are satisfied with. And people also look forward to sometimes selling their property on remortgaging it for another property. So be the one also that help them to be able to invest in their property. It's not a property that you buy that you can do extensions to. So when people come to the first time, you get to understand the real need. This is a property they're going to live in. They're going to want to do anything to all those things. When it comes to the marketing, this is where blogs are key. Unfortunately, in Ghana, there are no bespoke real estate blogs here. People start it and it's inconsistent. I know Mikasa, for example, has done something, but it's inconsistent. You see, a blog is a thought leadership platform. And Doc will tell you this, where people go and they find specific knowledge. So it's not about everything. And you're sharing knowledge, you're not selling it, but sharing knowledge to position yourself as the go-to person, as the go-to company that people will come to find value. People buy property and even they need to understand, for example, how to even decorate the property inside and all those things. To give people all these tips, how to maintain their lawn, all those things are free tips to give people. Because all those things add value to the property. And so when it comes to the marketing, we need to start looking at some of these things. It's not just about listing your properties. It's about also doing the things that position you as the ideal real estate go-to individual or company that people will come to. I hope these are helpful. One, build a strong brand and anchor it on delivering value and also building trust. Okay, and understanding your customers and their specific needs. And then when it comes to the marketing, yes, do all the social media marketing, website, all those things, do them. But on top of that, leverage something like a good blog that gives value, shares content that's valuable to property owners. And we thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Doc. It's sad that we.
You can't call me Doc. There's only one.
Sorry.
I don't have a PhD.
Sorry.
Oh, don't worry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I missed that.
And I know PhD is hard work.
Thank you
very much, Nase. It's sad that we have to let you go because of the emergency I have to attend to, but we'll leave you to reschedule you for another session, so we can finish up, because I personally can feel the knowledge you have that you want to share with us, and I look forward to have it all. So really,
and Doc, really good meeting you. We'll connect backstage.
There's
a lot we can do together
as well. Pleasure as well.
So, really good.
So much for the wealth of knowledge.
Thank you so much. No, not at all. We'll connect backstage and then take it from there. Yeah.
That's fine.
And thank you for the opportunity.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very
much. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Okay. So that was Nase. He has to attend to an emergency, so we'll reschedule him for another session. But we still have Doc on, who is talking about financing your dream in real estate. And he mentioned some of the models within the real estate industry in terms of we have the traditional mortgage, and then the government scheme, and then he also mentioned the rent. I want to recall. Doc, can you please remind me?
The rent advance schemes, the rent
advance scheme, yes. And then also mention some of the self-finance.
Self-finance option.
Yes, where we have a company like African Lands.
Right.
African Lands doing something like that, helping individuals who are looking forward to own property in Ghana. And also You also mentioned you also mentioned
Real estate investment groups are also available.
available.
And
Yes.
then also diaspora mortgages are also available for those who are not in Ghana, out of Ghana.
Yes. So thank you. I think you mentioned SNIT as well. Using
Yes,
your
these are pension-backed mortgages, and
pension. Okay, yeah.
people are taking advantage of that.
Sure. Okay. Thank you very much. So we'll continue from that side.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I know you made in your point you did mention a lot of things, but I want to find out affordability is a big challenge here in Ghana or across Africa. You've mentioned some of the ways by which some um, an individual or a group can still own a property in Ghana, but
Yeah.
I just want to know if you have some more point to dive in deeper for us. That's talk of innovative financing solutions that you have seen that truly makes home ownership possible or more possible, or sorry, more achievable here in Ghana.
Okay. Thank you, Nee. This is a very good question.
Yeah,
So the question I usually ask is, how affordable is
it's
affordable?
affordable.
How affordable is affordable? See, let me just touch on the market. The current market fluctuation in terms of rates is undeniably high. Okay, for an industry that is growing up, Ghana's real estate market is one of the most expensive markets in Africa. Okay, even though the industry is thriving, it is booming, as compared to price per square meter, price per square foot, our industry is slightly expensive because out there you can buy a property for $30,000. Okay, maybe a two-bedroom apartment in a very reasonable location. In Ghana, you can only get those properties from government. You can't find it, from a private developer because of a lot of economic factors, like the dollar fluctuation, which is the currency fluctuation, which is currently now stable, and also you look at the import duties on some of these constructional materials, it makes construction a little bit, expensive as compared to other markets and other industries. And so, yes, affordability is a very keen or it's a very, very crucial area we really need to look out for. Just as NASA said, there are a lot of things government can actually do to bring affordability down. And in 2018, I I am very happy to have been a part of those who championed rent to own schemes, rent advance schemes, and other digital platforms to be launched within the country. But I think before touching on some of the innovative financing solutions that homeowners or yet to be homeowners can actually adapt, I would want to touch on some of the things government can actually do to help bring the right affordability. Okay, you can't control an industry without necessarily being able to have a say within the industry. Okay, as government, what say do you have in the real estate market? And it's very, very important because this is what drives affordability within the industry. So first, government can start by centralizing the land department, works and housing, rent control systems, national rent advance schemes, national mortgage funds, and so on and so forth. There need to be a central platform where all the major stakeholders in the industry can actually, from regulators through to governing bodies, through to end users, and also developers. Okay, there are a lot, marketers, real estate agents, agencies, corporations, and so on and so forth. We don't have a centralized platform that would push the ordinary developer or the individual developer to develop a property that would be more affordable for the ordinary Ghanaian to buy. Okay. So you can start by putting up a central platform from government. And this is how I would go about it. This is free of charge. I have presented it. I am yet to see it being implemented. But this I believe, is one of the major things we can do to bring a huge change in bringing affordability into the country. The first one is having a blockchain platform where every transaction is centralized yet decentralized. Every transaction is transparent for the ordinary Ghanaian or for the middle class income earner, the lower class income earner, to actually monitor transactions going on within the real estate market. This will also bring about education. Okay, now we need to group our real estate, areas. So, for instance, we already have districts and assemblies. Okay, district assemblies, local assemblies, and so on and so forth. So why don't we now put together an initiative where government can now decentralize some of these authorities into rent control and also other local government agencies, okay, who are capable of handling real estate. So you decentralize it. You ensure that the real estate market has its own sectors. Okay, so for instance, you come to Ayawaso West constituency. Within a constituency, there are districts. Okay, so me being, for instance, a real estate agent cannot go to Ayawaso East to sell. You understand? This will bring about specialty. People who needs to be trained by government agencies needs to be trained. Real estate companies needs to align with some of these provisions. So once we sectorize our real estate sector, this will help us a lot. So when we come to residential, we have agents who have offices registered within East Legon. Okay, who are specialized in selling residential properties within East Legon. Within East Legon, you have agents who have specialty in commercial real estate. Okay, trained by government, certified by government. Again, decentralize the rent to own schemes and rent advance schemes to some of these agencies to handle for you as government. Who would go out to look for those listings? Who would go out to bring that property owner onto the platform? It is these agents, okay? You make sure that you decentralize some of these initiatives, but run it through a blockchain platform where real estate agencies have specialties, okay? Specializes within their areas and within their districts. So for instance, if I am an agent that runs an agency in, let's say, Ashalibuche, I know my specialty is within Ashalibuche. So what I can do is that if government has trained me, government can now share the same platform with me for me to now list a property on the blockchain platform for Ashalibuche. So someone within Kaswa who is looking for a property in Ashalibuche can just look for agencies within Ashalibuche who are listing some of these properties. You understand? This will help regulate, affordability. Because if the standard 3-bedroom apartment in Ashalibuche is going for, let's say, 4,000 cedis or 3,500 cedis or 5,000 cedis, you can't tell me that the same property within the same location, someone else is giving his or her out at 10,000 Ghana cedis. You understand? This case, government can now begin to micromanage gradually, unintendedly, okay, would begin to micromanage, because we all know that, Ashalibuche ranges from 1,500 to maybe 3,000 cedis for a 2-bedroom apartment. You can't go beyond that. You understand? Exactly. So these are some of the things government can put in place to help regulate the developers, individual developers and public developers, or those who are into PPP, which is public-private partnership. Government can now regulate real estate agencies. Government can now regulate real estate agents, okay, by giving them agent registration number and then office registration numbers. Through trainings, these will help them understand why the industry needs to be affordable. Okay, now let me touch on some of the finance solutions that can make home ownership more achievable. The first one is rent to own. Rent to own is a very good initiative that gives homeowners or yet to be homeowners the opportunity to rent a property, live in it over a period of time, and then convert that property into, ownership. Okay. There are a lot of people who can take advantage of this. And just as I said, the National Home Ownership Fund introduced by government is taking this initiative very seriously. Okay. If you can speak to them, talk to them, engage them, you will be able to have the opportunity to own a property through rent to own. There are other individuals who are also adopting the rent to own concept. Okay, by putting up apartments and villas, townhouses, and through that, asking people to come and live in while owning over a period. So you can take advantage of the rent to own concept. Again, the rent advance scheme. The rent advance scheme, just as I said, I'm very happy that I'm one of the main pioneers who pushed this concept, into coming into the real estate space. The rent advance scheme is very crucial. In Ghana, people charge as much as 2 years rent advance. There are a lot of landlords who will take 2 years rent advance, 1 year rent advance. How do you expect the lower income earner to furnish you with 2 million? For a 2-year rent advance or a 1-year rent advance. This keep a lot of people in debt because they end up borrowing from banks, borrowing from individuals who might be willing to offer them those financial options, give them out to these landlords, and then end up paying dearly for it. Okay, so the rent advance scheme is in for, I know there's National Rent Advance Scheme introduced by government and some other individual organizations are also running it. Go to them, speak to them. I want to rent, but that rent I would want that rent to lead to ownership. Okay, so how do you pay for that rent? Let government help you. Let these individuals help you pay off the landlord while you pay gradually, to them on monthly basis. Do you know that as of 2022, our in-house assessment analyzed that in 1 year, just in 1 year, if government is able to provide financial assistance through the rent advance scheme to a little over 500,000 Ghanaians, either in the civil service, in the public service, or out there, government can go away with a little over 500 million every year. And that funds can be channeled into rent to own, where government can now develop their own projects and give them out, in an affordable way. Okay, so rent to own is a very, very, rent advance scheme, is a very, very good initiative that people who want to come into the real estate space can use as a financial solution to help them fund their property. Again, crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is key. People are taking advantage of crowdfunding. You don't necessarily have to own a property outright. House Funder is available. Just as I said, there's a company available in Ghana that has introduced the House Funder initiative. Okay, this company is helping a lot of individuals through crowdfunding to own a part of a real estate. You don't necessarily have to be an owner of a full property. You can own a section of it. You can own a time within the real estate project through time sharing. Okay, where you own a part. And gradually, as you develop your dividend, as you increase your revenue, you can now fully own a property. There are also corporate housing financing. If you go to South Africa, if you go to Egypt and Kenya, Tanzania, most of these companies, they are cooperatives who organize credit unions, okay, where you can take advantage of some of these credit unions. Even in Ghana, who buy lands for people. If you want to buy a land, you go speak to them. They will help you get some money, buy the land, and make sure you can start at least a piece of investment. You don't have to start big. You just have to start small. You just have to start gradually. And through credit unions, you will be able to do that. Now, there are mutual funds available, mutual ownership, mutual funds that are available. You can take advantage of some of these mutual funds opportunities, but look for mutual funds that are within the real estate sector. There are mutual funds from Republic Bank, from Ghana Commercial Bank, and so on and so forth, who are, and you can check on Security Exchange Commission of Ghana, the SEC. You can check on their platform and get some of these real estate investment trust companies who are investing in mutual funds that are pertaining to real estate. Okay, where you can own a piece of real estate investment without necessarily having to have a physical property that you are managing yourself. Okay, there's one other option that most people fall into, and that is the incremental housing finance. This is where you have your own land, you have your own money, but your money will not be able to complete the project. What you do is you invest that money into a business, into other assets like stocks, bitcoins, mutual funds, REIT investments, and so on and so forth. And then you use that dividend to develop the property as the years goes by. So that is instrumental housing finance. But this model requires that you need to educate yourself very well, which areas and what areas you need to invest your money into. And these incremental financing require that most of these investment would have to be done either in foreign currencies or in cedi denominated, currencies. This is especially when you want to take in loan to help you gradually, okay, attain the development of your project. And so I would leave it here and continue on your next question.
Thank you very much. I feel like my next question, you kind of dive in a bit,
Right.
Yeah, but well said. You've made some good point that I have noted down from the rent to own mutual fund, and then also checking on the ISEC pages for real estate companies um, that are um, creating opportunity for investment for
Exactly.
individuals to invest in the real estate without owning a property as well.
Exactly.
My next question is you touched on it a bit, but I still want to ask because most people think we need huge capital to start in real estate,
Right.
but then you've already mentioned such as the ISEC where you made a point you don't need a huge money, just a little you invest in real estate even without owning a property, just because you do not have enough money, you just
Right.
put some in the ISEC or mutual fund, and then you invest in the real estate. With that, I want you to dive in more for us so that um, those who do not have enough ready cash to buy a property or build a property will also have the opportunity to still go ahead and invest in real estate.
Okay.
So, what are some of the practical strategy for someone with limited budget to begin their journey in the real estate industry?
Okay. All right. That is a very good question. The truth is that most of the investors we know, either local or abroad, none of them, if you, I would say just a fraction, let's say about 1% of them actually started their real estate journey by having a lot of money. Mostly, people do not have enough money to invest in real estate, especially when you want to delve into, use it as a business. But especially when you want to use it as a business. Believe you me, most of these tycoons we hear of today never started by having bulk money to invest. It is just a little few who, through inheritance, through yes, I must say, just inheritance, got the opportunity to, ride on certain finance or certain opportunities to invest heavily in real estate. But most people did not start like that. And so, one of the major ways, for instance, if you go to Dubai, tokenization is available. And tokenization is run on the blockchain platform, which comes back to technology. Okay, now tokenization, this is how it is. For instance, if you are selling a home at East Lakewood for $1 million or $500,000, how many people can afford a property that on that value? Very few people. So now what blockchain is doing is that companies are beginning to now tokenize these properties and make them digital. And so you can own a portion of the property. So for instance, whatever amount you invest determines your share in return on investment for you. So for instance, if you invest, let's say, $50,000 in that property, and that property ends up being sold out, okay, that group of investors who came up to buy that property at a value of $1 million or $500,000 now all own that property through something we call smart contract. Okay, and through that avenue, you can now buy a section of that property and get dividend on that section you bought. Okay, so if you own, let's say, 10% out of the total real estate, out of the total value of the property, you make that dividend out of it. Okay. Now, in the event that this is so tight, it is so strict that a lot of people you can't cheat because blockchain is very, very transparent. Okay. So if you want to sell, you can only sell your portion. You can't sell all the property. So you sell your aspect. It is just like buying shares. You sell your shares while others continue with the project. Okay, that is one. The other point that I would also want to make is that there are low-cost entry strategies that a lot of people can take advantage of. One I call house hacking, and there are low-cost entry strategies. One I call hacking. For instance, if you happen to wanting to have money, or sorry, buy a property, but your budget is not up to that reach, don't go in for the most expensive one. Do your market research, understand the needs for the market. And once you arrive at a clear-cut definition, you can now hack that industry. You can now hack that market that you've found. For instance, if you can't afford buying a one-bedroom apartment, but can afford to buy a land, just buy the land. Divide that land into two. Lease a part of that land or sell a part of that land and build on the other part. It's a very good initiative where that can actually help you raise more money in order to finance your own real estate investment opportunity. The second, wholesaling. The wholesaling. This is where you, being an individual who wants to invest into real estate, can now look for distressed properties. There are a lot of distressed properties around, but people do not pay attention to. Distressed properties fall within a lot of categories. There are distressed properties that are available out of wedlock, where something urgent has caused the property developer or the home seller to lease the property way below the property market value. Okay. Secondly, disputes. You can go to court, and there are a lot of disputes, and court has placed injunctions on properties and has issued the property to be auctioned. look for those properties. You'll be shocked that properties in prime areas that are going for $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 are actually going as low as $120,000, $70,000, $80,000 just because of this split. Because both parties want to get rid of that property because of this split. Okay, so do your research very well. Look for properties that are under distress. We call those properties distress sales. Look for those properties. Buy them. Because you wouldn't have to pump in a lot of revenue. Okay, buy those properties and you can resell those properties later. Okay, again, there are others I call live-in flip. You live in that property to flip that property. Once you find a distressed property, you maintain that property. If there are certain things needs to be done on that property, get it done. Try and live in that property temporarily yourself for maybe a month, 2, 3, and now you can begin to flip that property onto the market to sell. The reason why it is necessary for you to live in that property is that mostly people would want to find out who the owners of that property is and whether they've ever lived in that property and why they are selling. Okay, your presence in that property builds more confidence for those out there who are willing to buy. Okay. And so flip these properties by living in yourself. Look at these properties, maintain them, manage them, and then flip them. Again, you can also rent out a property space that is currently available to raise more money in order to invest into bigger budgeted real estate projects. So for instance, you can rent out some of your properties through Airbnb. The Airbnb market is big now for people to be playing with. It is a very, very good space where people can now take advantage of that opportunity by renting out the space, the same space they are living in. If you live in, let's say, a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, you can live in 1 or 2 and then rent out the remaining 1 during peak seasons like Christmas, Eid, Easter, and so on and so forth. And people can take advantage of that. And all these things also help you build on your revenue to investing into bigger budgeted, properties. Again, there are small investment options, and that falls under tokenization. The tokenization falls under that. So small investment options such as the REIT investment, availability, where real estate investment trust companies sell mutual funds, and through these mutual funds, you begin to own, a section of these properties. And believe you me, it goes as low as $1,000. With about 1,000 cedis, 2,000 cedis, 5,000 cedis, 10,000 cedis, you can own a mutual fund that is real estate inclined, that is real estate focused. And just as I said, I'll just mention some Republic Bank does it, GCB does it. You can also check on Security and Exchange Commission platform to check on some of these companies that are into some of these investment opportunities. Under crowdfunding, there's a caveat to crowdfunding, okay, that people can actually take advantage of. There's a section of crowdfunding that deals more of digitalization. So if you would go into crowdfunding, I would advise you to look at it from a more digital point of view. Okay, not the type where you drive in a lot of investors together and all of you come together to develop one project and you all own that project. Okay, that option is there. But look at digitalization, which I would say that tokenization falls under. Okay, so crowdfunding, that has to do more of tokenization, where these properties are being tokenized. Okay, again, owner-occupier loans are also available that can help you, add up to your revenue to buy, the real estate of your desire. Now, these home occupier loans are available mostly, in um, um, London, in the US. And recently, I have seen some banks introducing that same options, where the homeowner is a tenant and he needs some money to add up to his money to buy a new project or extend that same project. So, these are some of the things that people can take advantage of. Some of these strategies that people can actually take who have limited budgets, okay, and may not be able to invest fully into real estate.
Thank you very much, Doc. I must say, your submission looks like it doesn't look. It's actually um, giving me an idea. It's truly, indeed, it's true. Everybody can jump into this real estate industry, especially the point that you've mentioned. Talk of the wholesale and then house hacking. Like, it, thank you very much for those points, and I really appreciate it.
Let me just add one more. You see,
Sure.
under rent advance scheme, you see,
Yeah.
I'm just giving this out free for agencies or agents who are passionate about the real estate industry but do not have money to invest themselves. This is what you do. Find a property owner. Go sign an agreement with that property owner. Tell him that you are willing to help, provide tenants. Okay, and sign that agreement that you would provide tenants in that property, but he should sign the tenancy agreement rather with you and not with the tenant. You will co-manage the tenant for them, and usually they will be happy because they usually don't have people who manages tenants for them. They manage it themselves. Okay, so you are taking the property upfront, renting the property, paying that property on 3 month basis instead of 2 years or 1 year, especially when you are approaching that landlord as a company. Okay, so go by that approach, raise some money, find tenants who are interested in buying that, leasing that property, and then add some form of, administrative fees. I won't say interest because you are not a financial institution to operate on interest, but add administrative charges. If monthly, you can add, let's say, 10%, 15%, 20% on a rent that is going for, let's say, 1,500 cities or 1,000 cities, and you are making 150 cities on it every day, and you have, let's say, 50 of such apartments. Okay, how much money are you accruing as an individual? Okay, this will help you build revenue gradually, especially when you're already in the real estate space. Okay, so sign agreement with a landlord, secure the property, find tenants who are looking out for properties within that same location. Now, pay for the rent advance on behalf of the tenant and add some form of administrative charges for the tenant and make marginal profit on it. As the years goes by over a period, you realize that you have access to a lot of properties. Property owners will begin to come to you to give their properties to you that, oh, we know you can lease out our property because for you pay everything outright. You understand? While you adhere to the principles and rules structured by the rent control system. You understand? I hope this is much clearer for those who are in the real estate industry or those who yearn to invest within the real estate industry but do not have money.
Yeah, it does. And I don't think one point that with this particular point especially, I think one thing that it does also is work best with property owners that are not even living within that particular community
Exactly.
or in that house, but rather, or even those that have traveled out of the country. It makes
Exactly.
them much more easier. And I really appreciate that point, and thank you for
Right.
that.
You're most
Uh,
welcome. You're most welcome.
Sure. So, our audience, please, if you have any question, you are permitted to share it in the comment feed, and we'll gladly pick it up and then ask Doug on your behalf. Doug, with that said, I want to find out. You spoke about crowdfunding and others. I want to find out joint ventures and partnership. It's one thing that is popular our within the Africa real estate industry. But
Right.
then for someone who is starting out first time, we know how people started businesses as joint individuals, and somehow along the way, something just pops up and they have to break out and um, like that business kind of just move out of the system. And even in your submission, you also mentioned how sometimes land dispute. So maybe even in marriage, people are separating this, so they just want to let that property out, and they end up selling it at a cheaper price.
Right.
I want to find out um, how safety it is to enter into partnership with someone without taking on the unnecessary risks that it comes with it.
Okay. There's a very, very good question that um, I believe that everyone must listen to. Listen, you can't do real estate without partnership. Most real estate companies partner at some point. Okay, but this partnership usually are silent. You partner with developers, you partner with real estate agencies, you partner with agents to market your properties for you. So at some point, you would have to partner with someone, okay, within the value chain. You can't do away with partnership in real estate. It is a must. You must partner with people in order to be successful. Without partnership, it is very, very difficult. It will be very, very difficult for you to be successful alone within within this real estate industry. But there are various types of partnerships. There are partnerships that are going into construction, partnerships that are coming into ideas. Where company A and company B comes up with ideas, and then they execute that idea. That would help boost a real estate, concept. Okay, but there are JVs or partnerships that strictly bring together or bring about real estate development. Okay, so going into partnership is very, very key. But whatever partnership you find yourself into, these are things you need to really, really, really take note of. One is preparation and partner selection. Preparing is very, very key. By preparing, you need to identify your objectives. You need to know your needs. Determine what skills, resources, or market access you need. What you are missing and what partner that can provide that missing piece. Okay, you need to prepare. You need to have a clear objective. Without that, no, you can't. You need to also know your weakness. Honestly, knowing your weakness when venturing into a real estate partnership is very key. Don't think you know it all. Don't think it is jack of all trades but master of none. No, don't think that you know it all. Know your weakness. Know where you fall short of, so that when you are picking and selecting a partner, you can get a partner who is qualified, okay, for you, or who can fill in that weakness for you. You need to have a clear vision. Most people do not have a clear vision going into a real estate project. Having a clear vision means that you need to determine whether your goals are long-term or short-term. Make sure you have this in mind. Are your goals long-term or short-term? And define it to align with your either immediate plans or future plans. The second most important thing you need to take note of is due diligence. A lot of people just do land search, and once it checks out for them, oh, they are good to go. The developer is good, the seller is good, I can buy the property, and so on and so forth. No. You need to assess the partner's performance after due diligence. Is this partner compliance? Is this partner reliable? Okay, the performance of that partner. For instance, you go into off-plan project, and a developer can tell you that, oh, I'll finish within 2 years. And in about 4 years, the project is still not done. Okay. You go into buying a project, or you go into partnership with a developer by buying into their escrow, okay, or by buying into their crowdfunding through an escrow, and you end up realizing that, oh, they can't actually perform. So performance is very key in real estate partnership. Whether you are selecting an agency, a marketing company, whatsoever, you need to make sure that you assess the performance of the partner you are going in for. Again, you need to verify if the partner's goals aligns with yours. Verification is very, very important. The fact that the partner performs well does not mean that their goals aligns with yours. So make sure that you select a partner who has a goal that aligns with your dream. And most important, you need to also make sure that you check references. Check with others. Oh, do you know this company? Do you know that partner? Do you know that person? How well is he? Okay, and all these fall under, conducting due diligence. The next stage is formalizing agreements. And this is where the legal aspect comes in. Every partnership must come with legal advice. Every partnership must come with legal referencing. Without legality, believe you me, you would miss out on a lot of things, a lot of key and technical things that needs to be looked at. Okay, so you need to have a legal advisor on your team, whether your money is small, whether your budget is small, your budget is big, you need to have a legal advisor on your team. Try to get a valuer on your team, someone who can value the property you are going in for, to give you the real market value of what you are venturing yourself into. Okay, if it is a land that the partner is bringing on board, make sure you evaluate the land through credible, valuers. Make sure you do that, and by so doing, you will be able to now understand the actual market value of the land you are going into partnership with. Okay, and one main other thing that a lot of people don't consider is that you can't do away with other professionals in drafting the contracts, in drafting and putting agreements together. You need other professionals to give you their individual assessments. This will also help the legal practitioner to coin the contract in such a way that will best fit what these other individual, advisors are also giving you. The best would have been to get a legal practitioner who is into real estate. But if you are unable to find a legal practitioner who is within real estate, then make sure you have other advisors, like real estate agents, marketing companies, valuers, surveyors. Make sure you have all these people in your pipeline who would help you by giving you advice. Okay, and most importantly, you need to do, as part of the due diligence, if you are buying a property, make sure your research always checks out at the Lands Commission. Make sure your research always checks out at the Lands Commission. And one of the main or key areas to do so is by doing an official search. Usually these official search are done through legal practitioners. It will give you the history of who the owners of those properties are, okay, and where the property currently stands and who currently owns it. Tony, I wouldn't want to take too much of the time because I've realized that we've run beyond that. But the third phase is launching and operating the idea or the partnership. How do you go about it? You need to make sure that you start with a trial period. You need to have a mock-up plan. You don't just necessarily have to invest all your money into a project. If you can do a mini one that would be, the stepping stone for a bigger project, you can go ahead. If you can partner with someone on a small piece of land. It could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be anybody. Do that before going into the bigger ones. Don't just start by going all out. That might be very, 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 very detrimental to your future investment. Again, also ensure that there's transparency. There's transparency, financial transparency within you and your partners. If you don't have transparency, okay, in financial transparency, that would harm you. So try and make sure that you have that. And then finally, make sure you prioritize your communication very well with your partners. Without proper communication, you can't stand. You can't stand partnership. That is why a lot of partnership fails. Because we don't communicate well to understand what changes are coming along the way. And so we end up falling out. Okay, so please, communication is very key in partnership. Tony, I'll leave it here.
All right. So proper communication, financial transparency, and also do your due diligence and ensure your land, ensure you check out your ensure you. I just want to remember the exact way you use.
Just check on do your due diligence, okay?
Yeah.
On the performance of the person, whether their goals aligns with yours, their objective aligns with yours. You also need to acknowledge your own weakness and make sure that you have a clear vision and objective for what what you are going into. I believe when you formalize these things and add agreement, the legal context to it, it'll help.
Very well. Thank you very much, Doug. We are almost through, but then there's a question on board. I just want to put that through. It says, what risks in the current market do you feel people are underestimating? That's from Obed. Yes. What is that one? Sorry, let me pull it up again.
Okay.
So, what risks in the current market do you feel people are underestimating? So within the real estate industry.
Okay, so there are a lot of risks within the real estate market, but one main risk that I think people overlook, okay, in going into developing or buying their own property is education. That is a huge risk people are taking. Okay, don't stop educating yourself. Don't risk by going into a project or investing into something being ignorant about it. A lot of people downplay education in real estate, and it's costing a lot of people a lot of money. There are books you can read that will give you more insight. So please, one main risk within real estate that people downplay is education. Educate yourself before, educate yourself during your investment, and educate yourself after your investment. Because as the years goes by, people are innovating. The market is innovating. Okay, the market is changing. And make sure that you add sustainability, mindset as you are learning. Make sure that you adapt sustainable ideas that will help you innovate as the years goes by. So please, risk. One main risk factors people downplay within the real estate market is education.
Okay, and then another question that came in says, if a downturn happens, what strategies would you recommend to protect real estate investment?
Okay. Now, every market surges. Okay, it is global. It is not just Ghana. It is global. You have times when market fluctuates, market comes down, times when markets go up. Now, when the market comes down, usually these are some of the best practices I would advise every investor to go in. First, protect your investment. Don't rush by selling your property or selling your project. Don't rush, because that is the time to make money. Funny enough, a lot of people Sell off when market is down. Protect your investment. And by protecting your investment is by holding on to your investment without giving it out. If you have money to buy more during down. If you have money to buy more during downturns. Listen, I'm speaking from experience in Dubai, 2018, between 2016 and 2018, when credit crunch occurred, a lot of people left their properties. A lot of people sold their properties at cheaper rates, at cheaper prices. And when the market began to pick up, they realized they've made huge mistakes. Now, the same people came back into Dubai to buy these same properties in different locations or possibly the same locations at way higher prices. So during downturns, minimize your risk. Make sure you educate yourself during these times. Watch areas that prices are going, very down. Buy into those areas because market won't fall forever. As it falls, it will come up. Okay, so these are two main strategies. And then I would add the final one. The final one is that is the time to tighten your legal scope. Please, that is the time to tighten your legal scope because during downtime, people tend to make hasty decisions. Make sure that you have a proper legal backing and proper legal agreement during downtimes because downtimes will help you understand how the legal fluctuations within the market also occur. It is not just about finance. It is not just about education, but it is also about policies and regulations. And if you understand these policies, it will help you tighten your legal, understandings. So during downtime, try to make sure that you understand the market very well, especially with regulations, because during such times, government comes up with policies just so that the industry can be robust or can revive again.
Sure. Thank you very much, Doc. We have more questions, but we are out of time. So at this moment, we'll end here. First of all, your final thoughts or your final words to us as individuals looking forward to join the real estate industry, those of us who are already in the real estate industry looking out to invest more or grow our investments. I know you've shared a lot. In fact, thank you very much for the knowledge that you shared today. Now I feel like I have a lot of finance knowledge when it comes to real estate, things relating to real estate financing. Thank you very much for that. And I don't know if you have your final words for us, what you have to tell us. And in addition, when you are done, then you could tell us. I know in the beginning you mentioned that as well. What you do, and what are some of the things that we can come to you, the services that you provide, that we can come to your company. How can we find you on social media or website or something? Yeah.
Right. Okay. So my final words to every real estate person out there is that real estate is not a one-off thing. Real estate can be a business. Real estate can be a friend. Real estate can be a partner. The best way to handle yourself is by learning. Don't do anything without learning. I have emphasized on this today because it is very, very important. Start slow, invest small, and grow from there. And make sure that you innovate yourself as the years goes by through technology. Thank you.
Thank you very much. How do we connect with you, and what are some of the services that you provide as an individual, and how do we connect with you as well? Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to get in touch with me on social media platforms, I am Dr. Richard Osafo on all social media platforms. Okay, on Facebook is Richard Osafo, on X is Dr. Richard Osafo, Instagram is Dr. Richard Osafo, LinkedIn too is Dr. Richard Osafo. And so I'm Dr. Richard Osafo on all platforms. My company is Plexus Consulting Limited, and it is PLEX for xylophone US, and then Consortium, realestate.com. Okay, we do a lot of project management, project finance. We provide real estate investment advice. We also handle after sale activities, okay, like managing one's real estate project for them. So it's a whole lot that we do, and we have qualified team in Ghana and in Dubai that can help you, advise you, manage your property for you, or help you from from one point to the other until you own up a property.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Richard. And we really appreciate having you on today's session, and we'll do well to reach out to you. I think I have one more question. I'll come to you privately for that.
No. You go ahead. Go ahead. And let me just
So
touch on it.
you mentioned the services that then there are two actually. Let me find out this one first. You mentioned the services that your company provide, and I want to find out if, let's say, you have a land and you do not have enough funds to develop on it, does your company have maybe room for that to also develop?
We do.
What are the terms and conditions?
Oh, it clearly depends on your goals, your visions, what you want to do with it, how you intend on financing it. How you intend on repayment. So it all depends on your financial backbone. If you have a very reasonable financial backbone that we can rely on to pull in, revenue or investment elsewhere to help you get your project done, that is something we can actually do. It is within our capacity too. And because we have pool of investors who are always looking out for partnership, we can also collaborate, bring you in line with other partners who probably don't have the land but want someone with the right real estate idea, to develop. So these are things we can actually put together depending on what your goals are, why that property, and if that property really fits within the market and not out of the market.
Okay. And then one last question, we are done. Also, with your experience with the African market and then the Middle East as well, that's Ghana and then Dubai, I just want to find out what lessons or models from these markets can be applied locally here in Ghana to help people invest in the real estate industry.
Okay, so there are a lot of them, but I'll just summarize them into two. So one would have to be government. Okay, government would have to put in platforms or regulatory policies that would help make real estate in Ghana very seamless. Without real platforms, it will be difficult for us to, bring every major stakeholder together. We have GRIPA, which is Ghana Real Estate Professionals Association. We have GRIDA, Ghana Real Estate Developers Association. We have Ghana Real Estate Owners Association. We have, other professional institutions that fall within the real estate market. We have the National Homeowners Fund. We have the National Mortgage Fund. Okay, these are all institutions, regulatory institutions, playmakers within the industry that could all come together on one platform that can help make the real estate industry very seamlessly. Again, the Lands Commission is also a very, very key player in our real estate market. And we don't have a common platform where people can easily verify, titles and so on and so forth from the Land Commission. How would we be able to do this if we don't have the right tools, if we don't have the right platforms to aid us do this? It shouldn't be difficult for you being a buyer, okay, to find out who the real owner of such a property or such a property is. Okay, but these days you have to go through the Lands Commission, join a queue, try so hard in order to be able to get it done. With proper accreditation and proper governance, I believe that we'll be able to if we're able to put a centralized platform together, that will help us. The next thing that I have seen being done is we need to really broaden our understanding of what real estate is. Real estate should not just be about buy and sell. It should not be about just develop and sell. Okay, but we need to we need to blend it. We need to blend it with tourism. Okay, how many real estate touristic destinations do we have in Ghana? We don't have. But if you go to Dubai, Dubai's economy is strictly built on real estate tourism industry. Okay, oil is later. People think it is about oil. No, oil has nothing to do with the development of Dubai, even though it has helped tremendously. But Dubai's economy is being run by real estate and tourism. So how many real estate touristic destinations do we have? How many properties are unique in Ghana that can attract foreign investors, tourism, and so on and so forth? We don't have such. Finally, we need to embrace technology wholeheartedly. Technology, smart technology, AI technologies. Now, with smart technologies, I am able to design a property that is easily competitive to that in Dubai, and that in US, and that in the UK. Okay, because there are smart homes available. Okay, initially these were things that are difficult, but now I am seeing that gradually it is coming into the real estate space. But we need to adapt it wholeheartedly because these things will help us a long run. Properties, just as Nasser said, architects are benefiting from AIs. Designers are, benefiting from AIs. But do we have it at a larger scale? Do we have it on a mass scale? This is something we need to embrace. Technology in all. And one final thing is that under technology, we need to start implementing blockchain systems. Blockchain systems, because blockchain systems bring about transparency. It brings about, you can't cheat anyone under blockchain. You can't. It will reduce theft. It will reduce, mismanagement and so on and so forth. Okay, it will help us build stronger KPIs for the real estate market.
Okay, thank you very much. Finally, we've come to an end of today's session. Thank you very much, Doc, and we really appreciate you for making it possible and also sharing your knowledge with us today. And
Right.
with your knowledge share, I hope in December when we are having our final session, we'll still have you on, coming back again to share with us more knowledge. And then we look forward in investing in real estate more and becoming
It's
rich.
always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. I'm just a phone call away. Once you give me a call, I'm sure that we can always catch up. And this is our industry, Nii. This is what we do for a living. And so we need to always make sure that people do not repeat mistakes that are hurting or mistakes that is hurting, the industry. We need to make sure that, we clean the system up. And by educating, I believe that it will help. And just to also say that Team Group is doing a fantastic job. You guys are doing so well. Kudos to the entire team, Christine. I have monitored some of the previous sessions you've done, and believe you me, you guys are doing well. You are educating the public, and this is a platform that I'll recommend everyone to be a part of, because we are not just educating Ghanaians, we are educating people in the diaspora market, either Ghanaians or non-Ghanaians, and we are also educating investors, possible investors who might be coming into, invest into the real estate space within Ghana. So thank you so much, and it's always a pleasure.
Sure. Thank you very much, Doc. We
Most
really
welcome.
appreciate your words. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much to everyone for joining us for today's real estate investment workshop. We really appreciate you for making time to join us. And today we had Nasser and then Dr. Osei Osafo speaking about technology and real estate and then financing your dream for the real estate industry. And it happened each and every month throughout the year. And today's on, which is Friday, 29th of August. Next month, which is September, it happened on 26th 26th, that's the last Friday of the month, and make it a point to join us as well. And same time, same platform. And thank you very much to you all. To all those on, if you've not joined we have a community. If you've not joined yet, you can just scan this code. You can just scan the QR code and you join. Thank you very much. And see you next week. Bye.